So what are we doing today?
So I have a really good intro, I think, for the show.
Cool.
Howdy! No.
Is it Five Will Goes West?
Welcome to Best Boys Deep Dive! No, it's not Five Will Goes West.
Call me Stan.
Call me Stan. Okay, no, for real. Hello everyone and welcome to Best Boys Deep Dive, our passion project both literally and figuratively. I am your host for this evening, Jesse.
And I'm the other one for today, Leo.
Great. So,
I'm the temporary other one.
It's been a hot second since we last recorded our most recent episode. And since we wrapped that last episode, I've been teasing Leo with the topic of this episode.
Oh yeah, I have no idea what it is today.
Yeah, because I wanted to. It was originally going to be The Emperor's New Groove, as we established last time.
Yes,
And
we mentioned that.
But then I saw a YouTube video that changed my. It got me thinking about
it. Changed my life. You can admit it. It changed your life, Jesse.
I don't know if I would go that far, but it definitely it illuminated me. Is that whatever? Close enough.
Sure. Enlightened, I think would be a better term. But sure.
It definitely gave me like an idea. It made me more curious to dive a bit further into this. The original video, for y'all if you want to like check it out, it's Mr. Sunday Movies. It's titled The Lost Toy Story Sequel.
Interesting. Okay.
But we will get to that. There's a lot of backstory that I want to get through first, and a lot of tangential like side things that are.
So we're not discussing like one movie like throughout. It's basically like entirely production history.
It's entirely production history.
Cool. Okay, that sounds
for
interesting.
Some things that it's sort of a recap of an era in Disney's history where maybe they weren't doing so hot, and maybe they made a lot of bad decisions, and maybe the bad decisions were all the fault of one singular man.
Ooh, drama.
So maybe this episode's a bit of a call out post, but we'll get to that.
It's Walter himself, Rot.
He came back.
Walter. He came back and just drove Disney into the fucking ground.
Could you imagine?
He just rises from the dead.
They pull like the frozen head out and he's like, you know what we need? 4 more Black Cauldron sequels.
Yeah, that's what he sounded like. Why does he sound like Alan Rickman?
Hello.
Mr. Potter.
This is how you make the polyjuice potion.
We must
I am a frozen head.
We must add a 8th dwarf.
We shall name him Droopy. That's right. The 8th dwarf is Droopy Dog.
Oh, that's horrible. It took me that pause was because I genuinely forgot how many dwarves there were. Or we'll add 17 more dwarves. He just steals all of the dwarf characters from Lord of the Rings. Like, these are ours now.
This is our new dwarf, Boromir. Is that even a dwarf? I don't think it is.
No, I don't think so. I think he's either a human or an elf. I know nothing about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
I
me neither.
don't care about Lord of the Rings at all.
Boromir might be Sean Bean, who is decidedly not a dwarf.
Scene Bean. I know.
Scene Bean.
I know. Oin, Gloin, Keely, Keely, Beefer, Bofer, Bomber, Thorin. These are dwarf names.
Okay,
these are real.
These are real.
These are real.
Okay.
These are real. These were all characters in The Hobbit, which I did read actually.
Is Tom Bombadil a hobbit or is he a dwarf?
I have no idea. I think he's a hobbit.
Is he? Tom Bombadil's the one that everyone hates, right?
I don't know. I don't know anything about Lord of the Rings.
All I know is, like, I hear people complaining about Tom Bombadil being the worst part of The Hobbit.
I know about... I don't care. It's whatever. I have no idea. I read The Hobbit in high school. I watched the first Hobbit movie, and then nothing else Lord of the Rings related.
Leave your Hobbit thoughts in the comments below.
Do not leave your Hobbit thoughts in the comments. I do not care and will not read them.
I'll maybe read them. I don't know.
I'm gonna get incinerated by everybody wanting me to watch Lord of the Rings, but I just don't like fantasy that much.
I could like fantasy, and I could like the Lord of the Rings. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I like low fantasy. I don't like high fantasy.
Yeah, that's not true, actually. I did watch the first one. I was like, this is good, and then I never went back.
This is good. Anyway.
Moving on. I did the same thing with Game of Thrones, and I think I dodged a bullet there, if I'm honest.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, anyway. Some backstory. To get to start us off. I don't know if you knew this, but Pixar was formed in 1979 as the Graphics Group, which was a computer and special effects team at Lucasfilms.
I did know that, actually.
So, yeah,
I did know that.
George Lucas basically created Pixar. I think they were computer and special effects. Like, I think they built a computer, which I think was called the Pixar.
That's fun. I like that. Which is
a really cool name for a computer, honestly.
Yeah, that's dope as shit.
Right? And so eventually, years pass, and George Lucas eventually sells Pixar to a company called Next. It's spelled capital N, lowercase e, capital X, capital T.
That sounds like a Homestuck typing quirk.
Yeah. This was 1986. The person who owned and founded Next was Steve Jobs.
Oh, no.
So Steve Jobs, this was after and before Steve Jobs was the CEO of Apple.
Okay.
So he left Apple, and then he made Next and bought Pixar, and then he went back to Apple years later.
And then he was like, yeah, fuck this, I want to work with phones again.
Yeah, alright, fine. I guess I'll make an iPod Touch.
Fine.
Whatever. So yeah, Steve Jobs, until his death, was the primary investor and chairman at Pixar, which is absolutely bonkers to me.
That is really funny. I didn't know that.
It's crazy to think that the iPod guy, was the chairman of Pixar.
It's, crazy to me how, literally every company is connected in some way. It's ridiculous.
And it's crazy that, Lucasfilm created Pixar, and then years later, both of those divisions would be owned by Disney. They would be bought at different times.
I hate this so much. I'm gonna get really mad by the end of this deep dive episode.
Oh, just you wait.
I'm gonna be so mad. Have you seen that infographic? It's what Disney owns, and it's the Mickey Mouse head, and it's all of these different things. It's horrifying.
Uh-huh. With the recent acquisition of Fox, Rio, Ice Age, Epic are all Disney animated movies now. Every Blue Sky movie is Disney. I think that means that, I might be wrong on this. I think Horton Hears a Who is also Disney now.
Horton Meets a Who.
Horton Meets a Who.
Hello. That's it. That's the movie.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Okay, bye. You know what? I remember Horton Hears a Who actually being a pretty fun movie to watch. Don't know if it holds up, but I enjoyed it as a kid.
The only thing I remember about it is the ending where they all sing I Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore by REO Speedwagon.
Yes, and I loved it.
It was out of nowhere. I can't fight this feeling anymore.
No, I legit loved that song a lot because my mom played it, and I listened to a lot of the same music that my mom listened to at the time because I hadn't really discovered my own music yet. And I knew that song, and when they did that, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, REO Speedwagon. I was 12.
Yeah. I was 11 or whatever, and I was like, this is so out of nowhere and weird. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Oh man, I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad you did. So 1986, Luxo Jr., is released. That's the short film with the lamp, and the ball.
Yeah. We watched that in my stop motion class, and
Yeah.
then we had to animate our own lamp
Oh, that's cute.
for an assignment. Yeah, it was cute. It was like pretty fun, actually.
Yeah. I remember always thinking that the short was kind of sad because he pops the ball and he's kind of sad about it. I always thought that was very sad.
Poor thing.
But
then there's a big one.
There's a big one, yeah. It's also worth noting that I've recently been playing Lego The Incredibles, and you can, in fact, play as Luxo Jr. in Lego The Incredibles. He's an unlockable character.
Which is, like, the best part of the entire game.
He's so cute.
Yeah. He's just, like, a fun little character.
In 1987, the year after, Red's Dream was released, which I would argue is a much sadder short film. That's the one with it's a red unicycle at a bicycle shop, and he's, like, lonely, and he dreams of, like, being in a circus or whatever and, like, entertaining people, but then he, like, wakes up from his dream and realizes he's still in the bicycle shop, and he's, like, sad, and he goes into the corner, and the short ends.
It's what? Like, oh my god!
It's so sad.
Oh my god, that's the worst. I would cry.
So depressing, yeah.
This poor unicycle. Put him in a circus.
Put him in a circus. He deserves it. Both these shorts were nominated for Best Animated Short, but neither of them won. It wasn't until 1988, their third short film in as many years, the release of Tin Toy, which is the one that was included on the Toy Story VHS back in the day. The one that was just so ugly. It has aged like milk.
Yeah,
especially the baby.
Oh. The animation for that baby is the worst thing ever.
The humans in Toy Story do not look good by today's standards, but the baby in Toy Story looks infinitely better than the baby in Tin Toy.
Yeah, good lord.
Molly looks like an angel compared to the beast that was in Tin Toy.
I'm gonna look up a picture of this horrible baby. Give me a sec. I need to refresh my memory. Tin Toy baby. Yeah, it's like the third search option. Oh my god.
It's pretty bad, right?
Oh, the face. It like wrinkles.
Worst. Yeah.
It's so bad.
It's like it's trying way too hard to make it like almost lifelike by adding in all the wrinkles and creases, and I think I might be remembering this wrong. I think the baby has crow's feet.
It kind of does. It looks like weirdly old.
It's an old baby.
It's like any painting of the baby Jesus from the Renaissance period of like art.
So here's the thing. This one is the one that won them the Oscar. This was Pixar's first Oscar, was Tin Toy.
What?
Yeah. Over Luxo Jr. and Red's Dream.
Oh my god, that's bullshit. Art, you know what? Art was dead before all of this like mega corporation bullshit happened, and that's proof.
And apparently the Oscars were always garbage. This is proof. Yeah. So this movie was really, or not movie, short, was really well regarded, like all over the place in the industry. And Disney was the animation division and a lot of the company. I'm not sure how much exactly. Jeffrey Katzenberg was a head honcho over at Disney at the time, and he was trying to bring Disney back to its former glory, you know, because they were just getting out of the dark ages, and he was like, hey, let's go back to like making really good movies that do well and people like.
He had the radical idea of, hey, let's make good movies.
Obviously there were good movies released in that era, but it was also the era that Disney was doing really poorly. And so he goes to Pixar and is like, hey, Tin Toy, really good. Make another one of those with a similar premise. We'll give you the budget money, we'll distribute it, and we'll, like, split the profit in a way that is really good for us. But you'll get some of the profit, you know?
You'll get exposure.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shifty deal, but, you know, Pixar is a much... It's not what it is today at this point.
Absolutely.
So they're like, sure.
It's a baby, if you will.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you haven't been checking the chat, it seems.
Oh yeah, I have not. Let me see what's going on in here. It's worse than I remember. Oh,
it's so bad. I just sent, for those of you at home, I just like spammed Jessie with like 5 or 6 pictures of this horrible baby from the Tin Toy short.
It's like, he's like, I don't know what to say. He's built like a Dorito.
But like upside down.
Upside down, yeah. Like he's got like
his chest is like really narrow.
Yeah, and his nipples are very pointy.
They really are.
As is his belly button.
Yeah, Audis are the worst.
Yeah, and his legs are so chunky.
The diaper just like doesn't work.
The diaper is like a solid like a concrete block.
I think. I don't. Oh my god. I want
the freckles
first
are
picture.
really bad too.
There's freckles? I can't even tell.
I can tell on like the third one you sent. Like there are freckles on it, and it looks real bad.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh man. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Also, the feet are like flat. Like it is as flat as like a wooden board.
You know though, like the rendering of like the couches and like the
backgrounds and the toys and whatever, they look great.
The lighting and the shadows are like really good.
God, yeah, like
I'm like really impressed, honestly.
Oh god, the baby has like almost like a smushed head. It would seem like there's a bit where like it looks like it has a dent. It looks like it was modeled with clay.
Yeah. Honestly though, the toy from the pictures that I was looking through, the toy itself doesn't hold up super great either, to be honest.
Yeah.
His facial expressions look very strange.
This would all be fixed with their with their first feature film, the first ever feature film to be released, that was fully CG animated. Also, Luxo Jr., I forgot to mention, was the first ever anything released that was entirely CGI.
Cool.
It was that, and then it was the music video for Money or Nothing, by Dire Straits.
I am curious, not to be Transformers on main, but I'm curious about Beast Wars, because that was also, like, a very early CGI TV show. It wasn't the first one, because Reboot was the first one.
Yeah, I think Reboot was early 90s, I think.
Oh yeah, Beast Wars came out in, if I remember correctly, 1996, because it came out a year before I was born.
So Pixar goes ahead and makes Toy Story, which is released in 1995, a full, 7 years after the release of Tin Toy. So it took them a while to make this, but
which, like, fair, honestly.
Yeah, it was their first ever movie. It was the first ever movie of this style. It was directed by John Lasseter, who had directed Luxo Jr., Red's Dream, and Tin Toy. And it was a huge success. It was nominated for 3 Oscars for best song for You Got a Friend in Me, best score, and best screenplay. And it won a Special Achievement Award for being the first ever CG animated movie, which is really cool.
That's really cool, yeah. And honestly, I haven't seen it in a while. I'm sure the animation doesn't hold up as well, but, like, it's fine.
Yeah, and, like, it's
honestly
really funny. Like, it's a very funny, well-written movie.
Yeah, I remember the humor in it being really good.
Yeah, it was co-written by Joss Whedon, which is also a weird fact.
That is weird.
It was around the time I think he was working on Buffy.
That's funny.
Yeah, In any event, it was the highest-grossing domestic film of 1995, beating out Batman Forever, Pocahontas, Casper,
Damn.
Waterworld, and Apollo 13, which was the other Tom Hanks movie released in
Yeah.
1995.
Yeah.
Against a $30 million budget, it made $350 million worldwide in its initial release, and $373 million accounting for its re-releases over the years.
Man, like, it sucks that Pixar and Disney are so, like, they're huge.
Yeah.
They're huge, because, like, I can't really feel proud of them.
Yeah.
Because, like...
I mean, I kind of feel proud for Pixar, because Disney gave them the resources to do it, but Pixar made the thing.
That's true. And, like, I'm happy for, like, the people that worked on it. Like, that's super dope.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. I just... Just, like, knowing that it's gonna, like, Disney and Pixar are, like, these huge, like, entities that have basically just, like, they own Hollywood. They own, like, movie making. And, like, Disney, like, owns animation, basically.
Yeah, completely.
Which is what... We've talked about this, but that's why I, like... don't give a shit whenever, like, a new Disney or Pixar movie comes out and they're like, oh shit, check out how good this animation is. Of course it's gonna look great. Like, they have all the resources in the world. Like, their CEO is probably richer than God. Like, of course of course it's gonna look good. Of course that cat looks like a real fucking cat. It's Disney.
Yeah. I mean...
It's not impressive anymore. It's just like, oh god, okay.
I mean, their boss was richer than God. He was Steve Jobs.
Yeah, God.
It's also one of the few movies that has a 100% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. That's worth noting, I think.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because most Disney movies don't have 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I feel like most movies don't have 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's this, Jaws, and Toy Story 2 are like the only three I can think of off the top of my head.
Wasn't there one that was like that did really well on Rotten Tomatoes, like surprisingly? Oh, it was Paddington 2.
Oh yeah, that was like a 95 or 99 or something.
It was like really high. It was like a really high percentage. That's really funny.
Get Out was at 100 for a really long time too, until like one reviewer came in and was like, it's okay, I guess, and then it just brought it down to a 99. I think the same thing happened. The same thing I think happened to Into the Spider-Verse. In any event, after the film's success, Disney made a deal with Pixar to produce 5 films that Disney will distribute. And this is where we get A Bug's Life and Toy Story 2, Monsters, Inc., Incredibles, Finding Nemo, etc., etc.
Yeah, like, I think those are very much considered to be, like, the Pixar movies.
Yeah. Here's where things start to go downhill.
Oh, great.
So Jeffrey Katzenberg, he's a head creative at Disney, and the president of the Disney company. He's the guy who brought Pixar on board in the first place and started the Disney Renaissance. There was some tensions brewing between him, the CEO of Disney, Michael Eisner, and the vice president of Disney, Roy Disney.
Mr. Roy.
Mr. Roy, the nephew of
Walt.
Of
Walter.
Good old Uncle Walt.
Oh, Walter Disney.
Walter Disney, yeah. So, Katzenberg, Eisner, and Disney, there was a weird sort of back and forth of Katzenberg wanted a position once a vacancy would be available, and Eisner said sure. And then when the vacancy was available, Eisner took the position himself.
Yeah.
And then Disney didn't like Katzenberg for whatever reason, possibly because he's Jewish.
Yeah, Roy Disney specifically? Or, like,
yes.
Disney as the company. Okay, so that dude.
Yeah, Roy personally did not like Katzenberg. And Eisner eventually sided with Disney, basically deciding that he was taking too much credit for the Disney Renaissance, which he kind of deserved because it was his idea, but okay.
So, you mentioned that, and I wanted to bring up somebody else that I thought of while we talked about this, like, kind of briefly a couple of days ago.
Kind of almost like a test run of this topic.
Do you know anything in your research about Howard Ashman? Like, did he pop up at all?
He didn't pop up, but I know the name. He did a lot of stuff with Alan Menken on the Disney Renaissance musicals, right?
Yes, he was the guy. From what I understand, I haven't read about him like too in depth, but from what I understand about his career, he was a playwright and he worked with like Broadway, as far as I can tell, and he was gay, and he was in charge of like the musical score and like the way that the script was handled for like stories and movies like Beauty and the Beast and like The Little Mermaid, and he's basically the one that had the idea of, you know how in Sleeping Beauty they have musical numbers but it doesn't really advance the plot. They're just songs. Yeah. Howard Ashman, he pulled from like, rather than it being like an operatic sort of format, he pulled from Broadway and kind of implemented that way of storytelling into the movies. Right, and that's like kind of where the Disney Renaissance came from, as far as I understand. Like that's definitely part of the reason why those movies were so successful. And Beauty and the Beast was his last movie that he worked on before he passed away of AIDS, which is like really sad.
Some of his songs were also included in Aladdin, apparently. I'm looking at the Wikipedia entry now. Gotcha. He also did Little Shop of Horrors with Alan Menken in the 80s, which is really cool. Yeah, he was really young when he died. He was only 40, which is... Man. That sucks.
That sucks so bad.
So, Katzenberg was forced to resign from his position because of all the tension between him and Eisner and Disney. And Katzenberg was just going through a real, like, angsty, teen, rebellious, punk, screw the man kind of phase because of this. I thought you were going to
say Scrooge McDuck kind of phase. And I was like, yeah, we've all been there, I guess.
What? We've all been a little capitalist.
We've all been voiced by David Tennant at some point.
So he goes off and forms DreamWorks SKG with filmmaker Steven Spielberg and record executive David Geffen. They are the S and the K and the G of SKG.
Cool.
And they go off to produce the movie Ants to compete with the movie A Bug's Life, which was originally called Bugs. Apparently.
Oh my god, that's really funny.
So Ants was gonna compete with Bugs. Just
Ants Life.
Yeah. Also, Ants was really pushed. The animators and team behind Ants were pushed really heavily to finish the film before A Bug's Life was released. So it was released just a month in October, just a month before the release of A Bug's Life that November.
Yeah.
And also, it did not do as well as A Bug's Life financially. But
I think you sent me a screenshot of like one of the characters like recently. They look busted as fuck. It's like a really the character designs are like really bad.
They were intentionally modeled to look like the actors who were portraying them. So Sylvester Stallone's character looks kind of like Sylvester Stallone, and Woody Allen's character kind of looks like Woody Allen, and that's not great. They would do the same thing a few years later with Shark Tale, which was also a mistake.
I think that design choice is cool, but I feel like it usually only works very well with 2D animation.
Yes.
Because there's too much uncanny valley when it's CGI, because it looks like it actually exists in space.
Yeah.
And it's like, I hate that. That sucks.
There's something kind of similar that Brad Bird did with The Incredibles. There's a sort of a cameo towards the end of... have you ever heard of the... I think they're the 10 Old Men or something like that, or the 11 Old Men?
12 Angry Men?
I think that might be it.
The movie?
No, never mind.
Okay.
So it was a team of like Disney animators from like the 50s and 40s and 60s who were really influential in Disney's early films. And at the end of The Incredibles, there are two old men who say like, "Hey, there's no school like the old school," or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's two of the old men. Let me look up what they were called, because I know they weren't called like the 10 old men or whatever.
The old dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 Angry Men was definitely a movie about
Disney's Nine Old Men.
9 Old Men, that's funny.
Yeah, They were Walt Disney's core animators, some of whom later became directors who created some of Disney's most famous animated cartoons, from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs onward to The Rescuers, and were referred to as such by Disney himself.
That's funny.
Yeah.
12 Angry Men was a movie about a bunch of dudes arguing and being on jury duty.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so that's them, and they're sort of, like, they fit in with the animation style, and, like, they're kind of caricatures, and, like, they were,
they're
like...
stylized.
Yeah, so, like, that is a lot better looking than just, hey, let's slap Woody Allen's actual face onto a horrible CGI ant. Hey, let's make this ant look like Gene Hackman.
Yeah, it's
famous character
like,
actor Christopher Walken. You're an ant now.
There's it's like, yeah, that's a terrible design choice. It's so great that nobody just puts CGI actor faces on characters anymore.
Yeah, God.
I'm glad that that's not a thing anymore. The trailer for Cats 2019 just dropped. I'm mad about it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's horrendous.
I was talking to my mom about it earlier, and she is the first person I've seen who is on board with it.
I've seen so many people on my Twitter that are, like, losing their shit. I'm like, why?
You say that there are people who are, like, on board with it. I've seen no one who's on board with it. I've only seen people who are like, this is ugly as sin.
It's, like, people that are fans of the original, too.
Mm.
But from, like, what I understand, Cats was not great, actually. It's kind of a cult classic. So maybe the fact that it's weird and off-putting is, like, actually very on brand. But still, like...
Yeah.
At least have some passion in the designs.
Yeah, God.
Like, anything. Like, I don't know. Like, naked Taylor Swift cat with a collar is, like... really uncomfortable to look at.
Apparently, that's not Taylor Swift. Like, the main, like, white cat isn't Taylor Swift.
What?
Yeah.
Who is it?
It's, like, some, like, I don't know, just some actress. I think she might be, like, from, like, the original show. I'm not for sure.
They definitely made it seem like that was Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they announced her name first when they were showing the cast list.
Yeah. No, it's... I think that's... I don't know who that is. I'm looking at this cast list, and it's like... Their names are all, like, garbage names.
They're so stupid!
God, I forgot Idris Elba was in this. Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Who does he play? I'm curious.
He's McCavity.
Oh, he's the thief, I think.
Cool.
Who
Gus
plays
the theater cat.
Who plays Old Deuteronomy? Is that Surian McKellen?
Deuteronomy. No, that's... Old Deuteronomy is Judi Dench. Dame Judi Dench herself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Ian McKellen is Gus the theater cat. That one looks like Ian McKellen.
Yeah, it's straight up just Ian McKellen, and they put some fucking cat ears on him.
Rebel Wilson is Jenny Annie Dots.
Jenny Annie Dots, yeah.
Mm-hmm. James Corden, Mr. Carpool Karaoke, is Bustopher Jones.
That one's really funny. Who plays Rum Tum Tugger? Is that Jason Derulo?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes!
Yeah, I thought so.
That's so funny.
I think Rum Tum Tugger is, like, the coolest character. I have not seen Cats. I am not familiar with it.
Okay, I thought you were going to say it's the coolest name, and I was like, that is most certainly not true. Tum Tugger is the dumbest name I've heard in my entire life.
I gotta say, Bustopher Jones is pretty good, actually.
It makes me think of Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, or like, Bustin' makes me feel good.
Yeah.
The cat.
Busted makes me feel good.
God. I want to get a cat, name it Bustopher Jones, and then just call it Bust. I don't know anything about Cats. I did a cursory Google search when the trailer dropped, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
I didn't even watch the trailer because I don't care.
I am curious.
I'm not curious enough.
It honestly makes me curious about the source material, not this movie, which is probably good. I don't know. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Cats.
We're not here to talk about Cats. We're here to talk about Disney and their long series of mistakes in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Other bad CGI things.
Ants and A Bug's Life come out, and Shrek is also a huge middle finger to Disney as a brand.
Mr. Shrek.
Mr. Shrek. And there's some other movies from this era of DreamWorks that are kind of like almost nods, almost unintentional or maybe intentional nods to Katzenberg leaving Disney. Like, there's a lot of like overthrowing a tyrannical government plots in early DreamWorks movies, which really I feel like might be Katzenberg almost doing a self-insert of how he sees himself at Disney.
Yeah, kind of like a martyr thing.
Kinda, yeah. I just think that's interesting. But either way, so because of them firing Katzenberg, he goes off and creates DreamWorks, which ultimately leads way to one of Disney's first real rivals, because Warner Brothers Animation, like, was not really a rival to Disney at this time, and neither were any of Don Bluth had only released like one successful movie that decade.
Disney was already a monopoly at this point.
Exactly.
And that's so ridiculous and sad.
And them firing Katzenberg made it so they weren't a monopoly briefly in animation, which I think is very interesting. Because
DreamWorks is still up there, like now, currently.
Oh yeah, DreamWorks is still up there, and DreamWorks also like paved the way for a lot of other, teams like Blue Sky and what was it, like Illumination eventually, yeah. And
you hate that one, don't you?
I hate Illumination so much. I don't hate any animation company, I think, except for Illumination. Because it's everything that people complain about with DreamWorks, of like, oh, it's just lazy animation and like, pop culture references and fart jokes. Like, okay, but take all of that and remove any of the sincerity or like self-awareness that makes DreamWorks like tolerable.
Yeah,
and also worst animation.
Yeah, like DreamWorks is at least like pretty funny sometimes. It's not necessarily my sense of humor, but I don't think that necessarily makes it not funny. It's just not necessarily stuff that I enjoy.
Definitely.
B-movie sucks though.
B-movie's real bad. Yeah.
B-movie fucking sucks. It's the worst movie.
But for every B-movie that DreamWorks has done, there's always like a Prince of Egypt, or a How to Train Your Dragon, or a Kung Fu Panda, or a Madagascar. Like a really genuinely good movie. Yeah,
Madagascar was like one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I thought it was like pretty funny and good.
Yeah, it's really funny. So back at Pixar. Back at Disney and Pixar, work begins on Toy Story 2, which is originally conceived and planned as a direct-to-video movie. But Disney saw some early work on the movie and early like test screenings and stuff, and they were like, "Oh, this is really good. Like, we should put this in like the cinema. We should just make this like the official like theatrical sequel to Toy Story."
Yeah.
And you know what? We should have it release in 1999 at Thanksgiving. Here's the thing. Here's the problem with that, because A Bug's Life was due out Thanksgiving 1998, and 300 of their 500 employees were already working on A Bug's Life. So a lot of Pixar were really unsure of like, okay, so are we working on both movies, or are we just working on A Bug's Life? Do you have this handled, Disney, or do you have Toy Story 2 handled, or we have to do it? Because I don't know if we can do this.
Yeah.
Because that only leaves 200 of us to make an entire movie in a year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm
glad that they liked Toy Story 2 so much, because it fucking slaps. It's a good movie.
Oh yeah, it's a fantastic movie. It's honestly my favorite of the Toy Story movies. I haven't seen Toy Story 4 yet, but I think Toy Story 2 is the best one. Might be my favorite Pixar movie. It's up there with The Incredibles, definitely.
You know what? I think I liked Toy Story 2 better than the first one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been because the first one was better, but
yeah, the first one is a really good, funny comedy, but the second one I think plays a lot better with the emotions, and the scene where like Woody like tells his friends to like go home without him or whatever, and he like looks back at the TV and like the Woody puppet is singing "You've Got a Friend in Me" or whatever. It's like, oh, that's one of my favorite scenes in any animated movie ever.
The song where Jessie is singing about her like previous owner, Oh my!
I cry every time.
Oh my
it's
god!
So
my mom like had that on like a playlist or whatever, and it came on, and I was like,
Sarah McLachlan song, yeah.
Yeah, I was like singing along to it, and I was like, I got choked up just like humming along to this song. It's so sad.
It's so
like,
depressing.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and it's like such a brutal and like very like personal scene. Oh,
and like I feel like everybody kind of has the worry of like being replaced and like people forgetting about you, and like I don't know, like, it's real sad.
And it's like, hey, guess what, idiot? You did this to your toys when you were a kid.
You're
a terrible person.
I honestly didn't have that much of a bond with my toys when I was a kid, so I never felt guilty watching Toy Story.
I felt guilty after watching Toy Story because it made me realize how terrible I still, like, every time I, like, drop, like, a stuffed animal or whatever, I pick it up and, like, give it a little kiss and a hug, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
It's because it has a face.
Yeah, I know. I'm still, like, stuck in that mindset. It's crazy. This is a quote from, like, the co-producer of Karen Jackson. The co-producer of Karen Jackson.
What?
her mom.
Her dad? You mean her parent? One of her parents?
Karen Jackson, the co-producer of Toy Story 2, said this about the stressful production of Toy Story 2. Quote, "When we went from a direct-to-video to a feature film, and we had limited time in which to finish that feature film, the pressure really amped up. Forget seeing your family, forget doing anything. Once we made that decision, it was like, okay, you have a release date, you're going to make that release date, you're going to make these screenings."
So Disney was already treating their employees like shit.
It gets worse.
That's inexcusable.
Oh, it gets so much worse.
Oh my god.
So Toy Story 2 is really not well regarded at Pixar, mostly because of the behind-the-scenes turmoil and stress that Disney put them through.
That's fair.
Yeah, but it was still a massive financial and critical success. A lot of Pixar employees have said that, like, if Disney, like, gave us more time and resources, Toy Story 2 would be an incredible, perfect movie.
Yeah.
But they didn't, so it's not.
Yeah.
It's basically the consensus there. That's also why they had to reuse a lot of assets from other movies. I don't know if you know this, but the old man from who cleans up Woody. Yeah. The old man who cleans up Woody.
I wondered why they used him. I thought it was just like a fun reference.
I thought it was too, but no, it's because they like just were out of time and they're like, okay, we just need like a fully rendered asset that we already have. Let's just pull this old man from the short film where he plays chess against himself. It's the guy who cleans up Woody in Toy Story 2.
But I feel like most people interpreted it as being like a cool reference, or they didn't notice it at all. Mm-hmm. A lot of people like didn't know.
Yeah. So here's the part where it gets so much worse. So Eisner goes to tell Pixar after Toy Story 2 is released that their deal was for 5 original features, not including sequels.
Oh my god.
So A Bug's Life is their first and only thus far of their 5-picture deal. So Toy Story 2 is kind of a freebie for Disney. Basically.
Did they not pay their employees for it?
No, I think they did, but they reaped a lot more of the rewards for Toy Story 2 than Pixar did.
And they were still like, you're still on the hook for 4 more movies.
Yup.
Okay.
Yeah. Eisner and Steve Jobs held a really... Like, Steve Jobs was furious about this, and rightfully so.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Eisner's reasoning behind 5 original movies, not including sequels, was that it would make for 5 new sets of characters for theme parks and merchandise. So he's going all out on the whole
capitalism thing.
Yeah, on the whole monopoly situation.
Oh my god, these people are evil.
So years pass, and in January 2004, just months before The Incredibles was due out, Steve Jobs announces that after 10 entire months of negotiating, Pixar would not renew their agreement with Disney and would seek out other distributors starting in 2006 after the release of Cars, which would be their last film with Disney. Eisner and the rest of Disney were very upset that the negotiations have gone this poorly.
No offense, but how the fuck can you be surprised?
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
But like,
what?
you'd think so. This was around the time that Disney was not doing very well, like critically, commercially. Most of their movies between 2000 and 2004, when this happened, they were not critical and commercial successes. It's like Atlantis, Dinosaur, Emperor's New Groove, Fantasia 2000, Brother Bear, Home on the Range. The only one that came out in that time frame that was a commercial and critical success was Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, that was like the only one that did well at all.
Yeah, and like...
Which sucks because all of those movies are like kind of pretty well regarded now.
Yeah. Treasure Planet was Disney's, and I think still remains Disney's biggest financial bomb. And that also came out around the same time. So you would think that it would be in Disney's best interest to like keep Pixar on board as like a good source of revenue.
Yeah, and like concede to their terms.
Yeah, like just like, okay, we're not doing so hot right now, so you go ahead and make as many movies for us as you want. We'll agree to most of your terms within reason, but you know, go off. But no,
they just Disney is like super not in the place to be negotiating.
No. So John Lasseter, who at this point is the executive producer of Pixar, he directed Toy Story 1 and 2 and A Bug's Life. He's, because Disney now owns the rights to all of Pixar's characters that they've created for Disney, he's really worried about like what's gonna happen to them and like what Disney's gonna do with them. And he had to announce what happened, that the negotiations fell through, in a meeting with over 800 Pixar employees, saying tearfully, quote, "It's like you have these dear children, and you have to give them up to be adopted by convicted child molesters."
Yeah, that sucks.
Which is...
not the best metaphor.
The best way to put that, no. Especially from John Lasseter.
He's bad, right? Like,
yeah,
he did
bad.
Some shit. What did he do?
He's sexually harassing his coworkers.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
every man in Hollywood should just, like...
yeah.
burn it down, start over.
There's, like, a term at Pixar called the Lasseter, which is, like, the movement that female employees had to make to, like, so they wouldn't be, like, touched in a weird way by Lasseter.
Oh my god, what?
So, like, yeah, so, like, if a woman, like, did, like, a sort of a jerk, like, "Hey, John, how's it going?" You know, like, sort of like a twist so that he wouldn't, like, touch their butt or whatever, someone would be like, "You just pulled the Lasseter."
Oh my god, the fact
like,
that
that's how bad it is.
The fact that this dude has a term made up to describe sexual harassment from him.
Right?
Why is everyone in Hollywood evil and bad? What the hell?
Speaking of evil and bad, Disney created Circle 7 Animation in 2005 to produce sequels to Disney-owned Pixar movies, such as Toy Story, The Incredibles, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, etc. So they basically make fake Pixar in order to make Pixar movies to fool the general public into thinking that, oh, it's Pixar. Let's go see the new Pixar movie.
Oh my god, really? That's so funny.
Yeah. And so Circle 7 worked on early drafts for Finding Nemo 2, Toy Story 3, and Monsters, Inc. 2, Lost in Scaradise, which is such a good title.
I'm sure curious about it.
Well, we do have some details, which we'll get
good.
to. The plan was...
Cirque du Soleil, yeah.
This boggles my mind. This absolutely just... This is absurd to me. The plan was that Circle 7 would release one Pixar sequel every year for the foreseeable future. So every year, there is a Toy Story or a Monsters, Inc., or a Finding Nemo, or an Incredibles, or a Cars, or a Bug's Life, or whatever.
That's just how it is now. Not with those movies, but it's all sequels and remakes, so, like...
Yeah, but, like, only of those 5 movies.
That is
like,
weird.
That's it. That's so crazy to me.
Like, you don't think people are gonna fucking notice?
And here's the thing. Each of them has a budget of... You know what? No. You tell me... We played this game last episode. You tell me what you think the budget of these movies were.
I'm not very good at budget stuff with movies.
Just remember that the Care Bears movie was 2 million, was it?
2 million for the first one, and it got back a shit ton.
Yeah.
And 2 million's low.
Oh,
That's
it's
like
real low.
Real low.
Like an independent rom-com today is like 15 million.
So I want to say for these sequels, I'm gonna lowball it, but I'm also gonna choose like a pretty like solid benchmark number. I'm gonna go with 10 million.
100 million.
100 million. Each.
100 million each.
That's a lot.
Toy Story 1 was made for 30 million.
What do they need all that money for?
I don't know. And here's the thing. So
catering?
remember...
It's all catering.
Remember, Pixar had 800 employees. Circle 7 Animation has 168. Not 168,000. 168.
This sounds like a money laundering scheme.
It sounds like a... Yeah, right, exactly.
It sounds like bad.
Toy Story 3 was slated for a 2008 release, and it was going to be directed by Bradley Raymond, who'd previously directed Pocahontas 2, Journey to a New World, Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, and The Lion King 1.5.
Lion King 1.5 slaps. The other two... I liked it. I liked it as a kid. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Oh, well,
so
Lion King 1.5's fun, but, like...
The other two, no.
Other two, like... he would later go on to direct the first 2 Tinkerbell direct-to-DVD movies. So, like, his only noteworthy work with Disney is direct-to-DVD Disney sequels. Oh. I just look up and you're just chugging away like a baby at a breast.
Stop. Stop and also die.
So, we have some plot details of these movies.
Make a Disney movie about this bullshit.
Yeah, God.
This is more interesting than Game of Thrones.
So,
who will be the next Roy Disney?
God. Toy Story 3 was originally going to revolve around a mass Buzz Lightyear recall. So Andy's mom would have sent a malfunctioning Buzz Lightyear back to his manufacturer in Taiwan, assuming that he was going to be what's the thing, repaired, but it was actually going to be destroyed and replaced. And so all the toys go with him to Taiwan to like save him, and they would meet some new characters along the way, including Apology Bear, who is a Care Bear with like a malfunctioning voice box. There's a character named Hansy Hans or Hansy Hands.
Oh, I hate that.
He's like a plush toy who's also a Swiss Army knife. Which, it sounds like a real Island of Misfit Toys from Rudolph situation.
It sounds like Sid's toys that he made bad on purpose. Who the fuck makes a Swiss Army knife toy? That's like... What?
Yeah.
Also, for the record, to my knowledge, Care Bear toys never had voice boxes in them.
Yeah, but it's like a Care Bear's knockoff called Apology Bear.
Gotcha.
Like, it's like a, what's the word? Like, royalty-free, I guess. Care Bear.
Like a message bear, the ones with the t-shirts.
Yeah, God. They also would have included a character named Dax, who was apparently going to be like a Transformers knockoff.
Oh, hell yeah.
He was apparently, according to, based on like his concept art and his design, he looked like he was going to be a higher up at Star Command. So he was going to be a part of Buzz Lightyear's like line of toys, but he was also going to be sort of like a villainous, sinister kind of situation.
Okay, it seems like I like
sort
the
of
idea.
like what's his face, Stinky Pete from Toy Story 2.
I like the idea of a recall element, but
yeah,
it seems like the idea.
I like the
just,
idea
like,
of like
wasn't
centering
really.
it. Yeah,
there.
I like the idea if it's centering on Buzz. Like that's interesting because like the second movie focuses a lot on Woody. But Monsters Inc. Lost in Scaradise would have focused on Mike and Sully going to visit Boo for her birthday, only to find out that she's moved, and they become trapped in the human world, so they have to find a way back to Monstropolis and find Boo. Which, that sounds like a cute little, like, road trip kind of situation, of, like, Mike and Sully stuck in, like, the human world, trying to be, like, undetected almost.
Yeah, it sounds... I feel like it'd be hard to make it work, honestly.
I feel like it would be hard to make it work, but it could be cute.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
I definitely want to see more of the Monsters Inc.-verse. More than what we just got in Monsters Inc. and Monsters U.
They're making another one, right? They're making like a TV show.
Yeah, they're making the show for Disney Plus, but I don't want to have to get Disney Plus, is the thing.
Just fucking watch it illegally.
Yeah.
You don't owe Disney shit.
I couldn't find... Finding Nemo 2 seemed to be the one that was, like, the least far in development. So it's hard to find details about it. So I don't have any sources to back this up. I'm going off of this is what the Disney Wiki says Finding Nemo 2 is about. So take it with a grain of salt. It could be total bullshit. This could be someone's, like, Finding Nemo fanfic.
It's basically Strut's like whole backstory where he meets like Ruby or whatever that you talked about in the Land Before Time 2 episode.
Ruthie, yeah.
Ruthie, that's what it was.
Yeah. So Finding Nemo 2 would have revealed that another of Marl and Coral's kids survived the Barracuda attack at the beginning of the first one. The egg just
come on.
The egg had just drifted off somewhere into the sea.
Bullshit. It would have died. Like, what?
Yeah. So Nemo and Dory would have had to team up with the brother, with the newly discovered brother, to save Marlin after he's been captured. And guess what Nemo's brother would have been named, according to Disney Wiki?
Beemo.
Remy. Like Ratatouille.
It's him. It's Remy Ratatouille.
But he's a fish now.
Origin story.
It sounds pretty... I don't know. On the one hand, it seems too good to be true. But on the other hand, it seems like too specific to make up. But then again, like, all of this is technically fan fiction since none of these were made by Pixar anyway.
That's true.
So,
it sounds like a bad movie, honestly. It sounds like a really lazy sequel.
I wasn't even a big fan of Finding Dory, but this sounds way worse.
I've heard it was cute, but probably...
Finding Dory's fine.
It's probably unnecessary.
It's pretty much just... Did you see Finding Nemo?
Did I see Finding... Yes.
It's that, but Dory. It's that, but with more Dory.
Oh my god, okay.
That's basically the idea of it. Oh, when there's an octopus, but he's kind of mean, but he's not mean.
I am very familiar with Hank, actually.
Okay.
Because I animated an octopus in my stop-motion class.
Oh, okay.
And I had to build a puppet, and one of the reference videos that we used was the scene of Hank moving around and shit. In like the lab, like he jumps out of the tank and he's like wandering around. My partner and I, for that project, we used that as like a reference for like how we would move it and like how we would construct the puppet for like the short film that we did. It's actually on the YouTube channel. It's called fuck. Damn, what is the short?
It's called Fuck.
It's called Comfort Zone. That short film that I did with my friend Kulani is on our YouTube channel, actually, if anyone wants to check it out. It's cool. I'm like pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
I did a lot of animating with like puppets and fabric, which I hadn't done before, but it was really fun. I really enjoy working with fabrics.
Yeah. So animators across the industry were really unhappy with Disney's decision to go this route, instead of just agreeing to Pixar's terms. So they went so far as to call Circle 7 animation Pixaren't.
That's really funny. Oh shit!
So good.
Oh shit! Owned. Totally owned them with that sick burn.
Pixaren't. I love Pixaren't so much.
That's really good.
I think it's so funny. Pixar animators have said over the years that they have nothing against any of the employees who worked at Circle 7, but they had everything against Disney at the time, which is entirely fair.
Yeah, 100%.
So there was a vote carried out at Disney whether or not to keep Eisner on board, because between losing Pixar, losing Katzenberg, and who went on to start their biggest rival at the time, DreamWorks, and also like the recent decline in their animated movies, everyone was like, man, Eisner kind of sucks at this whole CEO thing.
Yeah.
And there was a vote that was carried out whether or not he would remain as CEO. The votes were not in his favor, and he resigned before anything could be carried out, basically. He resigned before he could be fired. And
Ding dong, the witch is dead.
Yeah, he was he was succeeded by the current CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, who would later go on to make Disney the monopoly that it is today, with them buying Marvel, Lucasfilm, and so on and so forth. Bob Iger re-entered negotiations with Pixar, and they reached a purchase.
A purchase?
A $7.4 billion purchase in 2006, right before the release of Cars. Steve Jobs became a Disney board member at this point, and Lasseter was really, really happy to be working with Disney again. So the Circle 7 team, they thought that this meant that they would continue with Toy Story 3 as planned, with Pixar helping out to assure, quality assurance, help, with the animation, and can you help us with this, give it that Pixar touch,
Yeah.
That didn't happen just in the slightest. In May 2006, all 168 Circle 7 employees were called into a meeting with the higher-ups, and they found out that the entire division was being canned. So all the employees returned to their offices at 11 a.m., and they got drunk.
Oh my god. That sucks. The animation industry, it's so disheartening to hear literally anything about the industry because it sucks so bad.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do with my life, and it's just awful.
Uh-huh. It's, just completely crazy. Finding Nemo and WALL-E director Andrew Stanton, who also works at Pixar doing other stuff, has stated that they actively avoided reading the script for the Circle 7 version of Toy Story 3 when Pixar eventually got around to making their own version.
Yeah, that's good.
Although there are some pretty noteworthy similarities in the plot, like Buzz Lightyear malfunctioning and needing to be manually reset. There's also a bit in Circle 7's Toy Story 3 that involved the toys being locked up in cages. There's also a bit with the villain reveal of oh, it's the toy that we were friends with, but he turned out to be bad.
Oh yeah, Optimus Prime.
Yeah, was gonna be basically the Lotso bear of the original Toy Story 3.
No. Lotso was voiced by Peter Cullen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why I made that joke.
That's actually really funny because the Transformer character was gonna be the villain of the original Toy Story 3.
Yeah, that is really funny.
That's an interesting little coincidence. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Mr. Prime, Mr. Prime himself.
Yeah. This is mentioned in the video I mentioned up top by Mr. Sunday Movies. There was an anonymous source that theorized that Circle 7 was formed basically as an expensive and elaborate bluff by Disney to get Pixar back to negotiating.
I honestly wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, saying, quote, that studio is never going to finish a single frame of animation. It's all just an elaborate setup to get Pixar back to the negotiating table. And that may be true, but they did, however, finish some frames of animation. You can find this all online. There's a frame of Buzz Lightyear in Taiwan, a fully rendered 3D model of Emperor Zurg, and there's some test animation of Tom Hanks's "There's no crying in baseball" line. Are you crying? There's no crying in baseball. From A League of Their Own, where he's like, it's Woody yelling that at like what's it, like one of the little alien toys.
Oh, I feel like I remember hearing about that. That's funny.
Yeah, there's like some test footage of that that was done by Circle 7. You can find this online. So this is sort of a bit of a long "where are they now" situation. To wrap things up, Pixar has a very good working relationship with Disney right now. Michael Eisner went on to form a venture capital investment firm called the Tornante Company, which produces BoJack Horseman and Tuca and Birdie for Netflix.
Really? That's like kind of cool.
Yeah.
He kind of sucks, but that's like cool, I guess.
Yeah. They're releasing BoJack Horseman seasons 1 and 2 on DVD and Blu-ray, and apparently Michael Eisner joins in on some commentary tracks, which is absolutely like crazy to me that like the former CEO of Disney for like decades is just like gonna be talking over Will Arnett, the depressed horse.
Yeah, he's just chilling, hanging out with Mr. Bo.
Yeah,
Mr. Jack.
With like Will Arnett and like Raphael Bob Waxberg or whatever. And it's just like, hey, so this back when I worked at Disney, and they're just gonna be like, oh, that's cool. So this episode is the one where BoJack drinks and is really sad or whatever.
A riveting story, unlike anything I've ever seen.
Unlike every other episode.
Yeah, God.
Oh God. John Lasseter, as we mentioned earlier, he was let go from Disney and Pixar amid sexual harassment allegations.
I didn't know he was actually let go. I thought he was still kicking. That's good.
No, he was put on basically like suspended leave or whatever. Oh, he's listening in.
I asked Tyler to turn the AC on, but I don't think that happened.
Okay.
Hold on. Babe! Will you turn on the AC? Sorry for your editing later, by the way.
Yeah, God. You're fine.
Oh yeah, look what I'm drawing. Oh!
Oh, good! Leo's drawing Bean and Bark. That's good. Love them.
Bee and movie.
Love it. He was suspended for a bit, but then he came back, and then he officially like left. Like a year or so ago. He's recently joined up with Skydance Animation as the head of animation, which prompted a lot of disapproval from contributors, and the resignation of actress Emma Thompson from the animated movie Luck.
Yeah.
She was going to be voicing in that, but she is not anymore because John Lasseter's involvement. 136 employees of Circle 7's original 168 were absorbed into Walt Disney Animation Studios and have worked on films including Bolt and Tangled. So they got some work.
Yeah, Bolt.
Some of them have a happy ending, but
only the people that were in charge of all of this bullshit really got happy endings, which fucking sucks.
True. Yeah.
The people that actually put forth like the effort into animating and shit and were the actual like backbone of these movies really didn't, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah. And that's also not accounting for the other 32 animators who I don't know what happened to them. So that sucks.
Yeah, God.
This is, I think, the weirdest part of the Where Are They Now segment. Jeffrey Katzenberg was moved from CEO of DreamWorks Animation to chairman of DreamWorks New Media, focusing on DreamWorks' interest in a YouTube multi-channel network / Nickelodeon sketch and hidden camera prank show, Awesomeness TV.
That sounds dumb as hell.
Before leaving the company altogether, so he can go make a streaming service called Quibi, which is due out in 2020. And I want to go through Quibi's Wikipedia article so we can discuss what Quibi is, because this is astonishing.
Wait, who is this? Which one
Jeffrey
of these?
Katzenberg.
Oh, the DreamWorks guy.
Mr. DreamWorks, yeah.
Mr. DreamWorks, okay.
Okay, so it's only on mobile. For starters, Quibi is, you can't watch it on a computer or a TV. It's only for your phone.
Cool, sounds great.
Off to a great start. They've raised $1 billion in funding from 11 investors, and all major Hollywood studios, including Walt Disney, 21st Century Fox, NBC Universal, Sony Pictures Entertainment, Warner Media, Liberty Global, and Alibaba Group. And here's some of the shows that will be included on this. 7,000 short film episodes. Each of these are about 10 minutes in length. So every episode of all their shows are 10 minutes or less. And the shows include Chrissy's Court, a Judge Judy-style reality show starring Chrissy Teigen.
That sounds really weird.
Mm-hmm. Steven Spielberg is writing a horror series called Spielberg's After Dark, which is unique in that you can only watch it at night. Zac Efron will star with his brother in a survival reality series called Kill the Efrons, where the pair will be sent to remote parts of the world. And Frat Boy Genius will be a drama about Snapchat and its founder, Evan Spiegel.
These sound like dog shit.
There's a lot more here. 50 States of Fear, a docuseries called Beauty, a reality show called Elba versus Block, which I think that means Idris Elba is on board. Let's see, something called Free Ray Sean, which is a thriller. A docuseries Untitled Justin Timberlake Project.
Cool.
So I guess it's a concert tour with Justin Timberlake. Who cares about Justin Timberlake anymore? I don't know. And a show called Wolves and Villager. Again, each episode is only 10 minutes or less. So, good luck.
Yeah.
You can view all of these episodes only on mobile devices and viewed either horizontal or vertical, with the user able to shift to one or the other within the same video. This sounds like the worst idea anyone's ever had.
The fact that this dog shit can get funding is, like, so
$1 billion.
disheartening. So disheartening.
$1.1 billion.
That's, like, so fucking depressing.
Yeah. So this was this was a really anger-inducing and depressing and sobering episode. Sorry about that.
This is Leo just, like, figuring out my life, I guess.
Yeah. See, like, I was gonna do it on The Emperor's New Groove, which is also a really depressing story of production turmoil and Disney being a terrible company.
Yeah.
But I heard about this and I was just, like, enamored by its, like, stupidity.
Just, like, flabbergasted by how horrible it was.
Like, everything about it is just, like, so weird and wrong, and I wish that it's so weird. I don't know, like, everything about it is just wrong in some way. Like, the fact that there was only 168 of them to compete with Pixar's 800. The fact that Michael Eisner, like, really screwed himself over with all of it. And
yeah,
I don't know, just everything about it's just so weird, and it just intrigues me to no end.
It makes me so angry and depressed.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I'm like also furious. This is why I was like, we have to record. Like, we have to record. This is why I've been like so antsy to record.
Yeah.
I've just been sitting on this anger, this unbridled rage for weeks. And I just needed to release it into the wild.
The wild?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So...
Disney's a bad company. Anything that they produce, just watch it illegally. Like, I'm not even kidding. Anything that they do, just watch it illegally.
Yeah.
Like, you can... Like, I'm still gonna watch DuckTales, but... That's neither here nor there.
So yeah, that's... Is that the end? Is that the show?
Man, I don't know what else to say, honestly. Like, fuck.
Oh, this has been a short one. Damn, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought as well.
I was thinking it was going to be like... I feel like we've been at this for a while.
I don't, honestly. Usually I'm the one that's like, yeah, we've been going for a bit, but no, it seemed like a relatively short and concise episode. That's cool.
Huh. I want to do more.
This character is hard to draw, and I don't know why.
Is it Bark or Knack?
No, it's Knack. I don't know why, but, like, his neck, like, chest area is hard to, like, put together, and I don't know why.
For those listening in, if I leave this in, I recently got Leo on some obscure Sonic characters. Knack the Weasel, Bean the Duck, and Burk the Polar Bear. And he's been drawing them fervorously because I really want us to make a comic together. I don't know if Leo was joking about it, but I'm genuinely like, I want to do this with him.
I am not going to put forth that much effort into this. I am not doing a full, like, I have too much shit on my plate, but I will draw like fun scenarios and like pitch ideas back and forth and shit. Yeah. Maybe it could be a long-term project that we work on later, but I am like not taking this on right now.
I am not saying like we need to do this now. I'm saying like if we ever get the chance to, hey Sega, can we do this?
We could make a pitch packet eventually. That could be fun.
Definitely.
I have to host a film festival, so I can't do that.
That's completely fair. So yeah, what are we doing next time?
I don't know. I have a Moomin episode that I need to do, but it's not ready yet, so you can go next again if you want.
I have so many here.
Yeah, you have a lot in the can. That doesn't bother me at all if you want to take over for the next, one or two.
Yeah, we have many options here. Emperor's New Groove, Sonic, Lilo and Stitch, Homestar Runner, what else is
I think
there?
We're both, like, kind of on a Sonic kick right now. I think Sonic would be a good episode to do, because I actually, like, know about Sonic to some degree.
Yeah.
I feel like I could have more, like, I don't know, actual conversation or like actual input on the subject.
Yeah, okay. So I guess next time we'll be doing Sonic.
Cool.
We'll get to Emperor's New Groove eventually when I've like when I've calmed down a bit because I'm just so angry about this Disney
honestly,
thing.
with these deep dive episodes, it's honestly just like whatever you're feeling at the time, because it's hard to like force yourself to be passionate about something.
I mean, like, I'm passionate about all of these, but like it's just very emotionally draining to talk about how much Disney sucks.
Yeah, Disney is, like, so disappointing just all the time.
Yeah. So...
Oh, good lord. So this has been Deep Dive. Sorry for,
This has been Best Boys Deep Dive. Sorry if this episode's been a bit, I feel like we've been high energy until now. Sorry that we kind of fizzled out towards the end if we did.
It's rough. It's super rough.
It's been a bit of a bummer episode, so sorry about that.
But you know what? Like, here's a lighter note. The internet is like such a big thing now. Like, I know it's hard to get traction with like a lot of things, but like people are able to get their shit out there on their own, like so much more than they could have back then. Like, if you have a story and you have something that you're really like working on and you've like really been developing, like it's so much easier to find a way to get that out there than it was back in like the 80s, where it was like, okay, like, who do we pitch this to? Like, you could, like, go to, like, indie developers, you could try to self-publish, like, you can run a webcomic online and have, like, a Patreon, like, I think it really is genuinely easier for content creators to, like, make stories and, like, make things that, like, they're actually passionate about and they actually care about. It's not just, like, I don't know, just some corporation churning out bullshit to make money, like, I don't know. Like, I think people out there still do make really good stories. They just haven't been able to get them out yet. And, like, I think that we're working on it. And, like, I think now is the time for people as a whole to just stop caring about Hollywood. Like, stop. Like, AAA gaming companies, Hollywood, fuck every single one of them. They don't care. They don't care about telling a good story. They don't care about, like, you know, teaching lessons and having, like, wonderful pieces of media that people like that resonate with people. I really don't think they care anymore, but people do. You and I and other people like us and like students and kids and young adults and grown adults and so many people have so many wonderful stories to tell, and they will get it out there in one way or another. And I think people just need to be on the lookout for that. Fuck Hollywood, fuck Disney, fuck like I'm so glad I'm not a video gamer, because the gaming industry is, like, real bad, too. Like, trust indie developers. Trust, like, down-to-earth fucking people making stories that they love. Like, trust that. Believe in that. Don't believe in Disney. Fuck Disney. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think it's very telling that whenever Pixar does make a sequel to something, except for, I would say, Cars 2, it's always because they have, like, a genuine passion for the characters in the story, and they have, like, a really honestly true and good idea for a new story with these characters and this world. And I think that's why Brad Bird took so long to make another Incredibles movie after the first one, because he was like, no, I'm just gonna wait until I'm, like, feel inclined to do so, as opposed to just, like, Disney, which is, you know, known for shitting out direct-to-DVD sequels like The Fox and the Hound 2 and, you know, Beauty and the Beast 4 or whatever, you know, like, and I think this episode is pretty illuminating in that front, because they were saying, hey, let's do Toy Story 3, let's do Monsters, Inc. 2, let's do Finding Nemo 2, before anyone had an idea for a good story for those things.
Yeah.
And they did come up with some decent stories. Like, the Toy Story 3 idea is pretty good, and the Monsters, Inc. 2 story is pretty fine.
I liked it.
It has potential.
I liked Monsters University. However...
I mean Monsters, Lost in Scaradise.
Oh, the ones that they didn't do. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Circle 7, Toy Story 3, and Lost in Scaradise, they both are pretty good and have a lot of potential, I think. And Finding Nemo 2, less so.
Yeah, perhaps not that one.
The one with his long lost brother who survived or whatever.
Yeah, that's dumb as hell.
Yeah, like, the ocean is so infinite. How are you gonna find your whatever? Anyway,
that egg would have died. Like, I'm sorry, not to be a downer, but it super would have died.
Yeah. Like, I think it's very telling that, like, Pixar does have, like, a clear passion for their ideas and stories and worlds and characters, and Disney's just like, hey, this is dollar signs. Let's do this.
I don't know. I think Pixar is still, like, also just, like, a giant company.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Like, especially at this point, like, you know, it is, like, basically Disney at this point.
Honestly.
But I think that the people, you know, the people who work at Pixar, I think when they make a sequel, they do have, like, a genuine, honest idea for their stories, as opposed to Disney, especially from this era, where they were coming up with ideas for sequels before they were coming up with sequels before they had ideas for sequels.
Yeah, exactly.
And they just decided, hey, we have $100 million to burn. Let's just crap out a sequel to Toy Story so we can, like, 1, make Pixar mad, and 2, make more money. What's the idea for Toy Story 3? They'll figure it out. Whatever. We have 168 people working on this. They'll get an idea. They'll get inspired by money eventually. Who are we gonna do directed? Just some guy. Just some guy who's like some yes man who's worked on our direct-to-DVD crap before.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's mean. I'm sorry to Bradley Raymond. He probably is not that bad. Or maybe he is. Who knows?
I don't trust like that, so,
That's completely fair. He is a man in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Where can they find you, Leo? Where are you? I can't find you.
Okay. If you want to find me...
What? You're so, like, tired, like, fine, I'll let people, like, follow me on social media and validate me when I post good art.
No, it's I'm just tired from this topic.
Sorry.
If you want to find me, you have to reach your tendrils into the internet. Now, where your tendrils go is very specific. You're going to want to go to... You're going to want to go to twitter.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to want to go to GouacheBoy, GOUACHE_boy at twitter.com. That's me on Twitter. And I have an art Instagram account as well. It's at gboydles, g.boydles. So that's where you can find me. I'm working on there's some stuff. It's whatever. Nothing like... I'm drawing Sonic characters and some OCs of mine. It's nothing serious. I'm just having fun. It's summer vacation. Yeah. I'm just drawing.
Hell yeah. Y'all can find me by typing Grinch_fat into Twitter and Instagram. You don't have to do anything with your tendrils. Keep them to yourself. I recently made a DeviantArt for...
sick!
For things. For naughty things. I'm not gonna say what it is.
Cool. I made a DeviantArt too, actually. I haven't put anything on it. It's mostly just a place to store concept art.
I actually also got a request. A story request.
Oh, yeah. You told me about that. That's really funny.
Did I tell you about that?
You did, yes.
Oh.
I think you screenshot it. And, like, sent it to me. Not, like, what you did, what the person said.
Oh, yeah, I haven't written it yet. I should probably get on that, actually. He gave me, like, 2 suggestions. One was pretty up my alley. It was a trans girl, and I was like, alright, I'm good with that. And the other one was, like, some straight crap, and I was like, I don't know about this one. And he's like, yeah, that's fair.
No fucking thank you.
He was like, hey, if you're not feeling that one, that's alright. We'll just work with the other one then. And
if you have people, like, requesting writing from you, you should do commissions. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm definitely, like, gonna open up commissions. I'm definitely gonna charge more if they want to do a straight thing.
That's so funny. Oh my god. Direct action.
They're gonna be so angry.
I'm really glad that you're editing this episode.
Yeah. Just so you don't have to listen to this a second time. But no, like, I think it's important that, like,
No, like, I get it.
Yeah, because, like, it's sort of a situation of, like, look, if there isn't gonna be porn of this, then I guess I'll just have to make it myself.
Honestly, that's, like, exactly how I feel about a lot of stuff. Like, there's not a lot of Donald Duck and Daffy content. Well, guess I better draw 10 sketchbook pages of it.
But yeah, God. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna work on that thing he suggested. So I'll go take care of that. So yeah, follow me on at GrinchFat on Twitter and Instagram. Follow Leo at GouacheBoy on Twitter and Instagram. On social Twitter and Instagram.
Social Twitter, as opposed to anti-social Twitter.
God. And subscribe to the Media Cage on YouTube. If you have a suggestion or idea for something we can deep dive about, feel free to leave it in a comment or slide into our DMs. Don't be weird with Leo. You can be weird with me. If you're too weird, I'll block you.
Yay!